Hi everyone, it's Henry and we're up here in the Lofterwaffe, as you can see, next to my painting table, or the bit of my Wargames table that is currently serving as my painting table, where I've been doing all these mad medievals, trying out contrast colours and stuff. Haven't got very far into the contrast colours, as you can see, but I have painted an awful lot of, what is this colour called? It's called Iron Hand Steel from Citadel Games Workshop. There's a lot of it on medieval figures. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that today. No. This video is exclusively for those of you who are my patrons at Lieutenant level and above, which is to say $5 a month or more, ranging up to even my generals at $50 a month. And this is an important conversation that we need to have, because a message I received today reminded me of something that I've wanted to talk to you about for quite some time. When I first set up the Patreon gig, January last year, and Patreon said, oh, when you're setting up your Patreon thing, you should introduce different tiers of subscription, and you should, make various promises according to the tier that people sign up at. So I did, and I came up with this idea. Seems brilliant. Starting with lance corporals and sergeants and lieutenants and majors and brigadiers and generals, and wow, what a bit of fun. And on the spur of the moment, there I was having to come up with things to say that I would give as the tiers arose, and it ranges from you can have a quick kiss up to I'll have your babies, more or less. I'm kidding, of course, but it starts with people having access to the Sergeants Plus Q&A sessions, and we've got one running at the moment, taking questions for that. For those who are patronising me to the extent of just $2.50 a month, seemed like an easy intro. Then what I said for lieutenants was you could participate in live video chats with me. For majors, I went quite grandiose. For those of you subscribing $10 a month or more, I said, tell me what your favourite Wargames period and era and so forth is, and I'll design individually tailored scenarios for you. And there you are. That would be a wonderful thing for you to have. Henry will do an individual scenario for you. Fantastic. For brigadiers, I said all those things, plus you get secret bonus content. Yes. And for generals, I said on top of that, you'll get a personalised gift from me. Now, when I made these commitments back in January of 2018, I obviously, I didn't have a crystal ball. I had no idea how my life was going to pan out in the intervening, months. But the fact of the matter is, you've all been incredibly loyal and incredibly patient, waiting for these things to materialise. Well, we did try having a go at one of them, which was the live video chat thing. But I said, oh yes, who wants to participate in the live video chat thing? This was a few months ago now, wasn't it? And the response was tiny. I kind of got the impression that there was almost no one who either wanted to participate in a live video chat, or you're also incredibly busy, you just haven't got time to participate in a live video chat. And the other fact is, as some of you pointed out quite rightly, is that you're all in different time zones. I mean, one of the things that I'm finding most wonderful is that my patrons literally come from all around the world. So as well as patrons in the UK, we've got patrons in the US, we've got patrons in Australia, we've got patrons in the Far East. As far as I know, Vladimir Putin might be tuning in as well. Hey. So that kind of fell by the wayside, though I am more than prepared to give that another go, because one of my favourite people, who's also a patron, hi Alyssa Faden, who does those wonderful maps, She uses a thing called Twitch, which is basically she does live streaming video whilst she's actually creating her maps. And so her patrons can tune in and communicate with her live while she's doing these map creation things, and she'll even incorporate some of their ideas. So guy says, oh, you know, and I think rather than someone actually speaking to her, they're typing in a message. So it's a bit like Discord or something like that, except one end is video, the other end is text. But people can type in, oh, you know, why don't you put a market stall in that square there or something like that? And she'll say, great idea. And in goes that market stall. So you're participating in what she does, and also she can personalise things according to the feedback that she's getting, which is wonderful. Of course, what I do is slightly different from that. I'm not specifically creating maps or illustrations or something of that kind. But you know I love making maps, so if you'd like me to do something like that, please let me know. Now, when it comes to the biggest thing I think has been the scenarios, because there's quite a few of you at the kind of major level and up who, some of you, not a huge number to be honest, but a number of you have communicated to me, oh yes, you know, I like Napoleonics, Henry, and I'd like a kind of a core level action, you know, something of that kind. Or someone else has said, I'm Napoleonic gamer, but I'm, you know, sharp practice is my thing, so I want something quite, you know, small and modest that could fit on a 6x4 table. But a lot of you haven't told me anything at all about, you know, what your preferences are. That's one thing, but the second thing is, what I've realised is, because as you know, I'm creating scenarios about tabletop tactics and stuff for Wargame Soldiers and Strategy magazine. Scenarios are hard work. That's the bottom line. Scenarios, you know, I suppose, just sit down and dash off. You know, I'll make something up. Oh, you know, there's a map of a war games table. Oh, okay, yes, you've got a division of this and a couple of battalions of that and a battery of this and that, and you know, objective is take the church. I could obviously easily do that, right? But have any of you played untested scenarios? The results are not always happy. It's kind of different if you're playing in a campaign. I think you tend to accept that the two sides may not be equal, the terrain for each side may not be equal. But of course, during a campaign, you can make the choice of either, well, do you know what, looking at the map there, and looking at the forces I've got, and looking at the forces he's got, or that I think he's got, I think, do you know what, I'm gonna pull back. I'm going to move back to the previous hex I was occupying, and there's not going to be an encounter at all. Or I'm just going to sit there and face off with him and, you know, blow raspberries at him. And if he decides to attack me, that's fine. I'll deal with it. But when it comes to one-off scenarios that aren't part of a campaign, anyone who does design scenarios properly, and hello Nick and Rich from Two Fat Lardies, because you're probably watching this, they know what I'm talking about. It's hard work. Dave Brown as well. You have to play test these things. You know, you might have to play test the scenario at least 2, probably 3 or 4, even more times to make sure actually the thing works. And that one side isn't sitting there going, oh God, why did I bother to turn up here? I'm just getting annihilated, right? And that takes us into the whole realm of, you know, do you use point systems? Hello, Rick. Do you take a historical scenario and play through that? So there's a number of issues there in terms of actually creating the scenario. Now, if you actually wanted a scenario based on a real-life historical campaign, that's great, but it also then, you know, supposes that I've got the time to sit there and research a particular, you know, one of Napoleon's campaigns or you know, an English Civil War campaign or whatever it is, something that may not be my, you know, my forte as my period. I love the idea of doing the research, but of course, you know, that also implies time, and looking at the the orders of battle of the forces that could actually have participated in this hypothetical scenario, or even a realish scenario. There's a lot of research time involved in that. Okay, now this is all fine, but the fact of the matter is, you may be aware that, first of all, I'm self-employed, and therefore I work pretty long hours anyway to try and just keep, the wolves from the door. Not always successfully, it has to be said. And there's also been another project that has kept me fairly busy for a while. Think you know what I'm talking about, guys? Yeah, that thing there. Wargaming campaigns, which is desperately close to being finished, right? I've had the feedback from my publishers and from my beta readers. It's kind of involved writing a whole extra chapter that I wasn't expecting to write. My fault, I didn't think it through in the planning stage. Thanks to the person who pointed that out. Also, doing a fairly hefty rewrite / additional stuff in one of the other chapters that already did exist, thanks to another beta reader and one of my senior patrons. And then a few other bits as well, because obviously, a number of you who are my senior patrons were also on my beta reading team. Thank you all incredibly much. I mean, there's just, absolutely seriously, having you involved in that after getting over the initial terror of, oh my God, what might they say? And the feedback I got was so incredibly helpful. I mean, it was all incredibly positive, 99.9% positive, I have to say that, which was huge relief. But also that any feedback or criticism I did get was incredibly constructive, and that is so helpful. I mean, never having used beta readers before, I can tell you that I'm probably never going to send anything to print again without using beta readers. It was just so helpful. But of course, that also means I've now got an extra editing and proofreading process to go through before I can really just then head down. It's a design job, just doing the layout and design of the thing. Where I wouldn't say I can do it with my eyes shut, because that wouldn't end well, would it? But certainly I can do it without too much trouble. Yes, it's laborious, and it's going to take me probably several weeks to get the thing done. But it means I can turn my headspace to other things as well. Now, this is where obviously I can say, if you can bear with me and just be patient for a while longer, one of the things I can turn my attention to is the scenario design, some of which are going to be simple, and some of what you've asked for is not so simple. But hey, there's also, for my generals, bless your hearts, I said you'd get a personalised gift, and you will. That's something else I will be able to do once Wargaming Campaigns is off my desk. So it's not much longer to wait. But I thought I'd make this video and kind of put it to you, because obviously one of the things I want to do is attract more patrons, because we're kind of around about the not quite $1,000 a month thing. And as I said right at the outset, I set those kind of levels of what I would be able to do as the pledge totals reach certain amounts. And obviously, $1,000 a month sounds like, $1,000 a month. Actually, once you've translated that into pounds sterling, and the Patreon people have taken their own cut and PayPal have taken their cut, well, I don't end up with quite so much. In realistic terms, it's around the £650 to £700 a month level, which I'm not complaining about, right? That's fantastic, and I know many people who are running gigs on Patreon that would dream of getting that much. Fantastic. But my aim, obviously, I'd like to make doing this pretty much my full-time income. And I'd like to be able to invest more time in doing things. For example, travelling to more shows around the country. Travelling to actually meet more guests face to face, whether it's for doing a podcast or doing a video cast. There are certain advantages to being actually face to face with people. I mean, Skype is great, right? It's an incredible tool that's made podcasting possible for so many people, including Neil Shuck at Meeples and Miniatures, which is fantastic. But of course, there are certain technical difficulties sometimes. I mean, I've actually just invested in a brand new microphone called a Blue Yeti, which is, this is a move into a professional level kind of microphone setup, and I can tell you, it will pick up the sound of a squirrel's fart at 400 yards. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. It's so amazing, in fact, that I'm now having to look at the loft reference and say, oh my goodness me, I need to soundproof this place, because the neighbour mowing their lawn, out in the back gardens, or a car pulling up at the front of the house, the microphone's so powerful it will pick that stuff up. Not to mention any coughs, splutters, tummy rumbles, sniffs, or anything that I might be guilty of. So each step change in technology brings its own challenges. So one of the things is, however, now I've got this brilliant mic, and I already had quite a good, it was called a Plantronics headset, which, if you're going to be involved in a podcast at all, I would say that's kind of your minimum entry level. The Plantronics headset is kind of a professional headset, but not very expensive. I mean, you could pick them up on Amazon for less than 50 quid, probably even less than that if you buy them at the right time. And they are an extremely good way of getting started, whether you're going to just be a guest on a podcast, or you're thinking of doing your own podcast, or indeed for gaming, that kind of stuff, because a lot of people do interactive gaming. Plantronics is a really good starting point, but what I've realised is it's nowhere near as powerful as this Blue Yeti mic that I've just bought. So I was able to get away with quite a lot. But even with that, there have been several occasions where I've been interviewing someone and they've just been sitting in front of their laptop or even their desktop PC or Mac with no kind of headset at all. And the difference in sound quality can be really noticeable. And so, there are these technical challenges that any podcaster has to face. So having a high quality mic that can record what's called bi-directionally, so if you're hanging it here, it can record from where I am, but also where the guest is sitting. That means that actually being able to go and visit and sit with my guest whilst we're carrying out the interview means that those problems, differential sound problems, can be ironed out. So this is kind of step one. One of the things I promised I would do is, as the pledges grew, I would start investing in higher grade technology to provide you with effectively the entertainment that you're telling me that you like, whether it's podcasts or videos or whatever it happens to be. And this Blue Yeti microphone is literally kind of stage one. Hoorah! I've managed to do that. I set aside not a huge amount of money. It was about, in the Amazon sale, I think it was about £80. It would have been something like £120, £130 had I not grabbed it in the Amazon sale. But anyway, so for the sake of about 80 quid, I've managed to make the first investment in upgrading my kit. In terms of videos at the moment, I'm tapping that because I'm just recording this on my iPhone. It's a 7 Plus. It gives amazing results, but it's literally just an iPhone sat in a little thing on top of me wobbly war games table / painting table. Obviously, the next stage would be, if I was going to make real proper videos, would be to get a real proper video camera or, something of the kind. But that's further in the future. Because what most of you are telling me that you like your blog posts, Henry, and your podcasts. You've been listening to the Battle Chat podcasts avidly, and thank you so much for that. It's incredibly encouraging to know that people are actually listening to these things, because you can sometimes spend several hours putting together a podcast, doing the recording, plus doing the editing afterwards, and then uploading it and publicising it and what have you. And then coming away thinking, has anyone actually listened to that? Well, a lot of you have, so fantastic, thank you. There's a full list on the battlegames.co.uk/battlechat, I think the page is anyway. I've got a list on the blog of all the podcasts so far, all the Battle Chat podcasts so far, and there's 26 to 30 of them. And plus, obviously, then there's the Q&A specials. So it's probably in total there's about 30 of them. So that's fantastic. So at this stage, therefore, what I'm asking for your help, guys. It would be so good if you could let me know in the comments under this video, or you can email me direct, or however you prefer to communicate with me. Are you happy to continue waiting while I finish the damn book, right? For your pledges, or would you prefer something else? I mean, we've been going 18, 19 months now. It's probably about time that the whole kind of pledge system, reward system was overhauled. I know actually that Alyssa herself has been sent out a message to her patrons saying, oh, do you know what, guys, I want to do something more different, whatever, with this thing. Yeah, advise me. So that's basically what I'm asking you for, is like, if you've got any brilliant ideas of how I could revamp the pledge system, the reward system, or other things that you would like instead of what I'm currently offering, or just any other genius ideas, both to keep you happy to continue committing to your current pledge levels. One of the things that's I've got used to is that some people join, they pledge for a while, and then they move on, for all sorts of reasons. I mean, the feedback from Patreon is kind of very vague. There is an exit survey that they ask you to do if you cancel your pledge. Most people just say, oh, my financial circumstances changed. In fact, there's only a tiny number of people, literally less than the fingers on one hand, who seem to have left saying, he just didn't provide me with what I thought he was going to provide me with, right? So either people were just being very polite, which is possible, of course, or it literally is that people dip their toes in for a while, and then, it's costing me whatever it is, a couple of dollars a month. I'd rather spend my couple of dollars elsewhere. I mean, to be honest, it's hard to imagine that someone's domestic circumstances could be so restricted that $1 or $2.50 a month, because it is mainly those levels that disappear, actually is causing someone hardship. So I would tend to imagine that they're probably just being polite and thinking, it's not what I thought it was going to be. And that's fair enough. Everyone has their reasons. It's your money. You do what you like with it. And I'm incredibly grateful to those of you who have come and joined in and have continued to support me patiently for 18 months now. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, 18 months ago I never dreamed that this would have come to pass, that I would be able to do this and be carrying on doing stuff that I love, related to a hobby that I love, for people who are lovely. You're lovely. You're obviously lovely because you're helping me to do this, so thank you. But yes, the time has come to say to you guys, and you're my senior patrons from lieutenant and upwards, what would you like to see or hear or read or have from me? If I love making maps, if you want me to kind of do some stuff that's about map making, because my map making is quite different from Alyssa's, for example, then and however, be patient because there's a chapter about it in a certain forthcoming book, right? But if you'd like to see me, demonstrating live to you as Alyssa does, oh, here's me making a map or something like that, or designing a scenario generically, or talking about the articles I write for Wargame Soldier and Strategy, or talking about any of the stuff that I've written about in the compendium or anywhere else, or running magazines, I mean, not just that, because obviously I now have quite a lot of experience to do with self-publishing and the world of publishing and marketing and publicity and social media, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But any of that stuff or any other brilliant ideas, if you want to watch me painting these little buggers, then fine. I'm quite happy to set this camera running and link up to Twitch or something like that, so you can actually watch me painting them. There's a lot of them. Oh yes. So there we are. There's that. Or anything else, making terrain. I famously, oh gosh, in one of the early battle games, I did the thing about making rivers. If you'd like to see me, and in the compendium, there was a whole chapter on making terrainy stuff, fences, hedges, walls. Blah. If you want to see that, let me know. But really, this is me saying, I don't have all the answers. I want to give you whatever you want for the pledge levels that you're committed to. So help me to help you. Okay? Now, final note, because I can see I've been rabbiting on for quite a while and I don't want this to be too enormous. The last thing I want to say is about social media. I've actually been in the beginnings of taking a bit of a digital detox, because I found myself endlessly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all sorts of things, because I've got several accounts on all of them, because this is the thing, I have different lives. I have life as Henry Battle Games Wargamer, I have life as Henry self-published writer thing, and I also have the other thing, which some of you are already aware of, which is my Gladius Publications, which is one of the other things I want to get moving. I'm going to say something about that in a second. But I've actually been cutting back over the last few days quite a lot on the amount my visibility, if you like, on some of those platforms. But don't panic, because I will see your tweets and messages and so forth. If you tag me, that kind of stuff, I will get to see them. But I'm resisting the urge to, oh my God, 30 seconds have gone by and I haven't checked Twitter. Right? Which is just bad. Bad. It's a complete time suck. Plus bad for your mental health. And it's like, how did I get into the position where I was doing that? I don't know. But I have to admit, there was like this thing, because I'm recording on the phone, is insidious. It sits in your pocket and it kind of beeps and winks and flags at you. Ooh, you haven't checked me for 60 seconds. Terrible, terrible thing. So I am detoxing. But I'm still here. If you want to reach me, you know where to reach me. Message me, email me, phone me. Remember phone calls? Good God. Apparently this thing can also make phone calls. Amazing. Who knew? Final thing, and one of the options for the scenarios thing that I'm doing. For Gladius Publications, once my books... Which book? That book, folks, that book. Once that book is done, because my Gladius Publications that I launched again... a couple of years ago, whatever, it was sort of sat on ice for ages. I really want to get back into that. I've got some more stuff from Mixace that I want to publish. I promised them I'd publish. But most importantly, a load of stuff of my own, amongst which will be scenario booklets, properly researched, properly play tested scenario booklets. So one of the things I could offer to those of you who are kind of major and up, the $10 and up people who I said, oh yes, I'll do you scenarios. If you prefer, or if you're happy, you can say, all right, Henry, you can just send me free of charge, when it's ready, one of your scenario booklets. And I'm hoping to do them both as in PDF format and maybe even kind of print on demand. So you guys, if you're happy with that idea, in fact, you can even make proposals for scenarios that could go into it, right? Even better, here's the thing, guys, I could do with your help. Playtesting scenarios. What about that? Would that be something that you would consider to be cool, groovy, and indeed awesome? Is actually helping me to playtest scenarios that I design. So, you know, I might have this, here's a World War II scenario, probably suitable for Chain of Command, something like that. And there's some, you know, early war, Germans, French, British, whatever, right? Here's the kind of basic situation I propose. Playtest it for me. Give me feedback. And your feedback might be, wow, that was amazing, Henry. Best scenario I've ever played. On the other hand, your feedback might be, how can I put this politely, Henry? It was rubbish. Okay? And you can then make suggestions and proposal. Right, how do we make it not rubbish? What was wrong about it? Was it just impossible to begin with? Were there too many variables in the friction of the situation? Would you need to beef up, you know, the support elements of one side or the other? You know, does one side have too much cover? Is the terrain too difficult? You know, any number of things. And here, this is giving an insight, isn't it, into scenario design, because it's very easy for me. I can do it all the time, folks. I can draw a pretty map of a, you know, 6x4, 8x6 table or whatever, and put hills on it and rivers and da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, oh, look, here's a brigade of cavalry, here's a brigade of infantry, and off you go, right? It may look great on paper, literally on paper, and then when you come to play it, oh, terrible. Does not work. It also can vary according to the rules that you're using, of course. This is becoming a discussion about scenario design. I'll come back to that some other time, perhaps in a podcast. But there are a lot of variables. And so having you guys on the team helping me test those variables and make these scenario booklets fantastic, first of all, if you do that, you get a free copy of the booklet, and secondly, you get my everlasting, undying love and your name inside the front of the book. How does that sound? Okay, so that's an option. Instead of me panicking about, oh my God, I've got, I don't know how many it is, 20, 30 individual scenarios to design for you guys, and pray that they're going to turn out all right, because I'm not going to have time to play test them. Let's be honest. Or you get involved with me. You join me on this journey and become part of, if you like, my extended, you know, you're already part of the Battle Games family, bless your heart, but even, you know, more deeply involved, you know, so we're, you know, because I don't like the idea of it's just me out there in the distance on a high hill, kind of creating stuff from on high. Right, I much prefer the idea of, right, you know, follow me. Let's do this together. You know, I'm happy to lead, if you like, project manage, to kind of come up with ideas or whatever. But it would be a much more pleasant journey and much more exciting if you come with me and become part of it. Right. And then, hopefully, you'll enjoy it so much, you will go out and talk to lots of other people and say, oh, why don't you come and become one of Henry's patrons? Because we do this. One of the other things I'm contemplating, obviously complicated by the fact that you live all over the world, guys, some kind of meetup, right? Now, a physical meetup would be great for those of you who are in the UK. Some, you know, it probably realistically some kind of online meetup for those of you who are international. Again, put your ideas underneath the video, or email me, or message me. You know, I can be Facebook Messenger. I can be reached. I'm, you know, email henry@henryhyde.co.uk or henry@battlegames.co.uk. Yes, that email address never actually went away. Shh, don't tell anyone. That's been running secretly in the background. So come on, join in. Tell me what you want from me. Okay? And I will move heaven and earth to make it possible. I just need Where are we? July. I'm hoping, oh please God, that this will be away at the printers September. I think it needs about 6 weeks of tweaking and then design work and stuff, right? I'm going to be working between now and then. I'm going to be working some ridiculous hours. I'm going to be working long days and nights to get that done, because as I say, I also am trying to bring in other graphic design work primarily, but copywriting, you know, whatever I can get, to be honest with you, to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage. Because this, whilst I love it, and you know, nearly $1,000 a month, not to be sniffed at, you know, it's almost paying the mortgage. It's not enough to keep the wolves from the door, and I want to be able to keep doing this into the future, and then do lots more stuff with you guys involved in what I'm doing, advising in what I'm doing, critiquing what I'm doing, you know, because this is the thing. I mean, there's a couple of hundred of you, but there's a big wide world out there. So if I'm going to be doing some stuff that's kind of for the big wide world, getting feedback from you guys is going to be incredibly important, just as it has been with the beta readers for this. Did I mention that I'm writing a book? Some people, bless their hearts, pre-ordered this 5 years ago. I don't know, because Pen and Sword made the same mistake again as they'd done with the compendium, and kind of posted up to Amazon that, oh yeah, this book's going to be coming. And people have been getting messages saying, oh, it's cancelled. And Pen and Sword, oh no, it's not. And yes, it is. No, it's not. It's not cancelled. It's nearly done. All right. So thank you for listening to this and watching me rant. Those of you who are on Twitter will be seeing more progress with these little people. We have I'm proposing two very simple heraldic designs. We've got the Duke of Redmond, so there's going to be red, get it, and the Comte de Bleuville, because there's blue involved. So just two very simple heraldic designs. You know, where's the camera? There's the camera. You can see the camera there. There we go. And that one, right? Because I'm making my life complicated enough. But you'll see those being progressed, plus other things. Plus, Simon, if you're watching, I hope you're watching, of course, let's not forget Bizarbia, which we'll be talking about before long. Yeah, that's another big Imaginations project. All right, folks, thank you very much indeed for your attention. Bless you all. I look forward to your feedback, so leave comments or write to me or email me or text me or even call me. Okay? Secretly for you guys, my mobile number 07917 874 575. That's 07917 874 575. Shh, don't tell anyone else. Okay? But for you guys, you know, if you want to text me or even give me a call, you know, love to hear from you. You're my patrons. You're the people who are making a difference to my life. And I hope to be able to make a difference to yours. All right? Thanks, guys. Speak to you again soon. Bye.